If you're someone that feels like you're going to lose money no matter what, that's actually going to happen, because you're operating from a space of, hey, no matter what's going to happen, I'm going to lose you anyway, so I just may as well not show up at all. Does that sound familiar? And there's so many women out there that believe this to be true, which is why they constantly kick themselves out and self-sabotage. And so when you understand that the relationship with money, and for it to come into your world, it starts with you and the way that you see yourself, more importantly, but also how you see money. Hi, and welcome again to another episode of The Consistency Queen. How are you today? I hope you're well. My name is Elsa Morgan. I'm a wife, I'm a mum, and I also own a global coaching business that I absolutely love. I help high-performing women to be able to amplify their influence, expand their income, and also their impact from vision to brand. I love what I do. I've been in the online space for over 8.5 years, and it's something that is near and dear to my heart. And I'm on a mission to serve and impact over 1 million women. And one of them is you that's listening right now, that's watching this right now. And so today I want to talk to you about a topic that I polled in my free group. By the way, my free group is facebook.com/groups/The Legacy Academy. And in there, I provide free content, free trainings, free resources. And recently I did a poll in the group and asked them about things that were important to them in relationship to money. And the second most popular was losing money. In terms of how to stop self-sabotaging and being inconsistent. And this is such an important topic, because I think if people were able to just look at this behavior in itself, you would have drastically different results as a direct result of you adjusting the behavior around this. You see, money and all of us are energy. So we are all energy, and so is money. And so if you have a fear of losing money, you will consciously and even unconsciously be behaving or showing up in a particular way where all you're thinking about is, oh my goodness, I'm going to do this and I'm going to lose money, or I'm going to do this and the money's going to go away. And even if I build my business, the money's going to go away. And even if I follow up with a customer, the money's going to go away. It's never going to stay around. And so if you don't repair the relationship, you will constantly kick yourself out because of belief systems that you have, or you will be making decisions with this programming running on. And sometimes it's just way off and not in alignment with how you need to move towards your goals. And you may not even be aware of that, which is why it's such an important topic. But before I get started, hey, do me a favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave me some comments about what you're loving about the channel as well. I highly encourage you. As much as I can, I respond to all of my subscribers. I thank you all for your comments. And also go on to my Apple and Spotify podcasts and leave me a 5-star review and a comment. And honestly, the subscribers and also the 5-star reviews help me to be able to invite and attract some world-class speakers. We're now going to start interviewing world-class guests to be able to help you to expand your knowledge and have access to these people. So then that way you'll understand why it's so important to be consistent in your life, in all areas, not just in business, in all areas, because this is how you'll find that the business will be increasing, and so will your life, and they'll work together. Whereas I often find that women have one opposing the other, and that's because they're not consistent in some areas of their business and their life at the same time. And that is what I coach. My Infinity program, which is my premium, my VIP program, I specifically work one-on-one on these areas with women. And it's so important for you to understand. And one of them is this relationship with money. If you're someone that feels like you're going to lose money no matter what, that's actually going to happen, because you're operating from a space of, hey, no matter what's going to happen, I'm going to lose you anyway, so I just may as well not show up at all. Does that sound familiar? And there's so many women out there that believe this to be true, which is why they constantly kick themselves out and self-sabotage. And so when you understand that the relationship with money, and for it to come into your world, it starts with you and the way that you see yourself, more importantly, but also how you see money. How you actually start improving your relationship with money is looking at how do you really see money? Like, do you really think it's working for you? Do you really believe it's a good thing? Do you think money is going to offer you choices, or do you think that money is just going to bring you more problems? Do you believe that money is going to amplify and enhance your experiences and open doors for you? Or do you think that money is going to create, restrictions and heartache and burdens that you don't want in your life? Because if you've experienced burdens, heartache, loss earlier on in life, even on an unconscious level, you are running this program. You're running this program. And if you find yourself in a situation where money's coming in, money's coming out, money's coming in, money's coming out, this potentially could be the reason why. I'm not saying it is the only reason why, but it potentially could be. And if you have been someone that has experienced loss earlier on in life, and you haven't made peace with that, you haven't repaired your relationship or actually reframed that experience to see that it's actually brought you to who you are today, then you're constantly going to feel like money is going to disappear from your hands no matter what. So the very first thing that you need to do is you need to repair your relationship with money. You need to reframe your past experiences with money. And you also need to understand that that situation that happened back then was back then, and it needs to stay there. But you also need to understand that that situation and all the others has led you to today. And you are an incredible version of you. I mean, you're listening to this podcast, so you must be amazing. But you are who you are today, and you should be absolutely loving yourself, appreciating yourself, accepting yourself. And you would not be who you are today if you didn't go through all those things. And so, number one, repair your relationship with money. And know that money will show up if you allow money to show up. Okay. And there are some energetics around it, and I don't want to speak to that today because that is a whole nother section. Today, I want to speak to the very basic fundamentals of what you can start doing. And really reframing this whole losing of money piece, which forces you, or, which basically means that you will kick yourself out and become inconsistent in life. Okay. So if you're finding yourself constantly self-sabotaging and sabotaging your journey simply because you believe that no matter what happens with money coming in, it's going to go out, so you may as well not show up, then this is something that you need to work on, okay? I want you to think about all of those circumstances where money has come in and money has actually provided for you. Money has actually worked for you. Like right now at this point in time, you have access to electricity, you have access to internet, you have access to clothing, food, water, and everything else that you have in your life is because of money, is because you have money and it's paying for that. Like, isn't that a great thing? Isn't it amazing? Like, I have electricity, I have all these books, I have my bookcase, I have this comfortable chair. By the way, I absolutely love this chair. And I'm able to have my nails painted pink. And I recently, came back from a trip. I recently came back from a trip, 3 weeks holidays with my family, and we traveled all around. We had ice cream every day. We went to the zoo. We went to theme parks, went to the beach almost every single day and ran in and out of the beach, went to restaurants. We went to markets. We had all these experiences. Money allowed us that opportunity. So when you think about everything that you have in your life right now, you've done that because you've been able to pay for that. That's because of money, right? So knowing everything that you have in your life, and you have to be grateful for that, all the other things that have happened that where you experienced opposite, I want you to think around the circumstances that led to that moment, to those moments. Was it a one-off? Was it a one-off circumstance? Because if it was a one-off circumstance, then you need to make peace that was what happened then. Make peace with what actually happened, and recognize that was then, but that doesn't have to be now, because your reality right now is vastly different. And what if it's a childhood thing where maybe you experience loss and maybe it was on a regular basis? Well, that's a direct result of choices that were made back then. And that's not to blame your parents or anyone. It's they made decisions based on what they knew was best for their family and themselves. And that's okay. But you don't need to carry that burden. You don't need to carry all of that simply because you experienced that back then. That was then, and they were the circumstances back then. The economic conditions back then probably were different. The working conditions back then were probably different. You are you today, and today you have a lot more opportunity to be able to go and create the life that you want. So just because you experience loss at some point doesn't mean that you have to experience it now, unless you choose to, unless you want to live like that. And this is where the whole situation happens with people in general, is that that is the default, that is the familiar, that is what they're comfortable with, is experiencing that pain over and over again and fearing that loss and going, you know what, see, told you, wasn't meant for me, was going to go away anyway, so shouldn't have bothered. And so if you find yourself that you have had a past with money where you've had loss, and then you are also inconsistent in business especially, there is programming attached to that you need to work through. And especially if it's a consistent thing and it's happened over and over and over again, this is when I say to people, hey, you need to work with someone, whether it's an NLP, life coach, business coach. I'm not only a master business coach, but also NLP master coach. And this is where I can help people adjust their behavior. This is where it's so important for you to understand why you are showing up the way that you are, why you are kicking yourself out of consistency, and how that has happened, and how you can start reframing situations so that it's you know that it's actually been for your benefit. Like Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, these are assets for your benefit. All the adversity, all the learnings, all the challenges, all the obstacles have been assets for your benefit. And when you start looking at it that way, you'll start understanding that you wouldn't be who you are today with the opportunities that you have if you didn't go through all of that. Okay? And then number 3, you need to make a commitment to understand that right now, in this moment in time, you have the opportunity right now to totally shift your perspective on money. You see, whilst you've got this programming of losing money, what if I was to tell you that everything that you have right now, electricity, water, food on the table, clothing, you have had to literally let go of money for you to be able to receive those things. In order for you to receive those things, you've had to pass over the money, pass over your credit card, like swipe your credit card. You are already doing that. You're letting go of money to receive these things. So when you start understanding that you already have somewhat of a healthy relationship, but all you're focusing on is things that have happened in the past, like loss, or you've lost money, and that is forcing you to only see that, but not see the goodness, the stuff that you do have, the things that you have in your possession, the experiences that you're experiencing, being able to watch this episode or listen to this episode. These are all great things that money has allowed you to experience. And so when you have this situation where you're enjoying all the aspects that money can bring you, and then also reframing your past in like it's actually helped you versus limiting you, when you start knowing that your past has actually brought you to this moment where you can pay for all those things, suddenly you realize that you have way more than what you thought you have in the first place. So reframing your past and focusing on what you do have, a house, bed, clothes, food, electricity, water. These are all things that require you to have an exchange, to pay for things. So you actually have more than you think. It's just how you shift your perspective and where your focus is right now. And so when you start to understand that, suddenly you go, wow, I have way more money than I think. And it's, and in terms of wealth creation and generating savings, that's a whole nother episode that I will cover. But I will say this, at the very foundation of all things wealth and all things legacy and generational change and really leaving a legacy for generations, it starts with how you see money and your relationship with money right now. Do you feel like that you have a lack of, or do you realize that you have more than what you see? Because when you understand that everything that you have in your life right now has required you to pay for things, you'll realize that you have way more than what you understand right now. It's because your focus has been on the what you don't have rather than what you do have. And so the more that you focus on all the things that you do have, suddenly more money appears. And you will have this healthy relationship with money where you know that when you hand it over, it's going to come back because it's always been there all along. You just haven't recognized. So if you like this kind of content, guys, I have so much more to give to you. So you can go ahead and leave me a 5-star review on my Apple and my Spotify. Also hit the subscriber subscriber button. I'll get there eventually. Really working on this to actually invite some world-class guests to come on board and interview them. And so that way you have more information, more knowledge to make decisions that you can start moving forward and amplifying your life. Of course, you can hop into my free group, facebook.com/groups/The Legacy Academy. And if you are a high-performing woman and you want to achieve 6 and 7 figures, or you want to be a high-performing woman, I invite you to go to hangwiththequeen.com, where you can start the process to see if we are a good fit, whether my group program or my one-on-one program would be a fit for you. What we'll do is map out your goals for the next 3 to 5 years, put a plan together, and me hold you accountable. And see you win, because you know what? Nothing drives me more and makes me more excited than seeing high-performing female going out and crushing their goals and just living life on their terms. Let me tell you, it's a freeing thing. It's a great thing, and everybody is able to achieve this life where you can make the decisions for you and your family. It's really just a choice of whether you are committed to the process of growth and evolution, or whether you are going to choose comfort and stay where you are, understanding that you must change and evolve if you want to have a different life. You've got to move differently to receive differently. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I really have enjoyed it, and know that I've also had to have repair my relationship with money, and it is a daily working progress, but it is totally available for you. Thank you so much for hopping on, and I hope you have an incredible rest of the week. Take care.
The Consistency Queen, brought to you by The Queenie Effect and The Tech Company. For coaching options, please visit elsamorgan.com.